Good morning, afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful world where we can access the internet at all hours of the day in all spaces of the world. My name is Jordan J. Scavone, and this is Picture Books, Inspiring Early Readers, WriterHive 2022 presentation. Welcome. I'm excited to do this. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about tension and building tension within children's literature. I wasn't really given a super lot of direction on what to do aside from talk about children's books, which I can talk about children's books for a long time on a lot of different topics. But I really wanted to talk about something that I felt really passionate about, something I enjoy talking about, something that I think people enjoy hearing about, and something that, especially for indie authors, which this will be a little bit more geared towards for indie authors and indie illustrators, or those looking to publish for the first time, or maybe the second or third time, and you just don't have a lot of information, and you want some fresh information and things like that. People who are more traditionally published might not get too much out of this, or maybe they will. I don't know. You'll get what you get out of it, and I hope you get some good stuff. So basically, this will be an overview of some basic design elements to help hold a child's attention and hopefully help with the writing and illustration process for aspiring authors and illustrators. So, who am I? 24601. I can't. I like musical theater. That's the start right there. I had to make a reference to that. My name is Jordan J. Scavone. I am based in Michigan. I am an independently published author with 5 children's picture books and 1 urban fantasy novel. I have a master's degree in children's literature. I've been working with children in early childhood education for almost a decade now. This will be my 8th and a half, 9th year where we're at right now. I have a child. I have a 2-year-old child. So not only do I work with kids all day, but I'm with a kid all day. In fact, recording this presentation is what you may consider a break from being around a child. So I'm going to talk about children's books instead of reading them to children for a little bit. I'm a husband. I have a wife. She's awesome. I'm a super nerdy dude. I like D&D and anime, as in you can see in my picture here. I have a Totoro cardigan. I'm wearing a purple cape. So that's a lot of me. My contact info will be on the last slide of this, and I assume linked somewhere. I don't know 100% sure. I'll figure that out. But feel free to, after this, reach out anytime if there's a question you want more information on or anything like that. I'm always open to talking with people, interacting with people, and that sort of thing. Okay, let's start to get more into the bulk of what's we're going. No, sorry, first I have a disclaimer. Sorry, this is loosely scripted. The more scripted I am, the more boring I'll end up being. So we're loosely scripted. Slight disclaimer. Though some of the books used here in this presentation will be used in a more negative light, they're still wonderful books. I'm not taking away necessarily anything from these books. They're all incredibly well made. They're all very good. And I'm very positive in my enjoyment of these books. But not all of them have the best design choices, in my opinion, and in my experience of not only studying children's media and children's books, but reading them with literally over 100 children on and off. I have what I feel is a very large pool to pull from with experience and things like that. Rules are also always made to be broken. That's important to remember. I'm a firm believer that just because something is a rule, and I'm making air quotations with my fingers that you can't see, that rule is intended to be broken in some way, shape, or form. Examples used in this will be mostly based for English-speaking / writing languages, countries where we read left to right. It's a little bit different when you're looking at Japanese manga or books where they read right to left or top to bottom. It's different. This will be mostly focused on English-speaking, English reading left to right. I will occasionally use my own books for examples, partially because I think I did a good job, and partially because I want you to know about them. I'm not going to lie. All right. So what is tension in the realm of children's literature? Well, tension in a literary context is the sense that something ominous is right around the corner. So, what does that mean for children's lit? When you hear that, something ominous is right around the corner. It has this kind of almost negative connotation to it. Maybe not negative, but intense. You know, oh, ominous. There's a storm brewing. There's the killer's right behind the curtain, things like that. The actual definition for ominous is giving the impression that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen, threatening, inauspicious. And it does give that negative impact to it. But when you're looking at it through the lens of children's literature, you want that ominousness. I don't think that's a word, but bear with me. You want that energy, that, ooh, I have to turn the page. Ooh, I have to know what's going to happen next. I have to follow. I have to follow. One of the books we're going to talk about first here is My Poppy Has a Motorcycle by Isabella Quintero and Zeke Pena. I hope I pronounced those names right. This book is absolutely gorgeous. First of all, if you have not read it, please do. It's beautiful, and it's really, really interesting. So in this first image you can see here on this slide, you see how just so much it's all moving left to right. It's all moving left to right. The motorcycle, the people walking, all of it. And we're going to look at two more pictures here from two different sections of this book. One from the start and one from more in the middle to the end. And the basic premise for the book is our main character, whose name I cannot recall off the top of my head. I don't have the book with me. Is waiting for her Poppy to get home from his job and to go on their nightly motorcycle ride. Super simple premise. It kind of has that sort of Princess and the Frog Disney motif of waiting for your dad to come home from his job so you can do your thing together. Instead of cooking in that movie, their thing is riding on a motorcycle. And they ride through their town, and our narrator talks to us about what the town used to be like. It used to do these boxcar races, which you can see in the bottom picture. And they drive by all these shops that she's gone to her whole life, and some of them are closing, and there's a lot of community and family love and energy in this book. It's a gorgeous book. But this book does an incredible job at making you want to turn the page. And whether that's from the text encouraging you to move on or the images. When I introduced this book very recently back into my classroom, it was in my room for a while, but the kids kind of got bored of it because it was in there for 6 months or so. So we took it out for about 3 to 6 months, and it just came back. One of my almost 3-year-old girls in my classroom, I teach 0 to 3. I didn't clarify that when I said I am in early childhood education, 0 to 3. Literally looked at this book cover to cover, one page at a time, for over 40 minutes. She didn't want anyone to read it to her. She didn't want to share it in any way. She just wanted to look at it and to follow the pictures and to follow the visual story that was being told. And it was kind of convenient that I brought this book back into the classroom when I had agreed to do this presentation, because I was trying to figure out, again, what exactly I wanted to talk about. And that was the moment when I was like, oh, I need to talk about tension and pacing and that sort of stuff. So that was a few little examples from within a book, specifically one book, that just does a dang good job. So now I want to talk about covers. The first thing that we look for when we're picking up a book. And people say don't judge a book by its cover, but guess what? We do. We always do. All right. So this is The Mud Princess. This is my second children's book. It's about a girl covered in mud who gets bullied by other princesses. And in order to figure everything out with those other princesses, they all get captured by a dragon, and she has to decide if she wants to help them. Super simple story. She's my non-traditional princess. I adore her. I want you to look at these two covers for a second. One of these covers is the used cover. That is what when I sell this book, when I display this book, is the cover. And one of them is the original cover that I actually changed pre-publishing. So just take a few seconds and look at them, and then mentally in your head, pick which cover you think is the cover that I use. Okay, so the cover that I use is the first one. The one where Georgia, that's our mud princess, is standing on the left side of our page looking to the right with the dragon looking slightly back at her. That cover makes you want to open the book and turn the page. The other cover, you can't. You can't follow the direction she's looking. She's looking away. She's looking at the spine of the book. There is no desire to flow forward in the direction of opening this book. And I've experienced that when I beta read my books and I kind of beta test them on the toddlers in my classroom. And when I showed them the cover, they kept trying to open it the other direction, the direction where she was looking, not the direction the actual pages were. So we're going to look at 3 covers here that I think do a miraculous job of, 1, pulling you in because they're gorgeous in their own ways, and 2, they want you to open the book. They show you where to go. They show you where we're going. And these 3 books are The Proudest Blue, and I'm really hoping I pronounced this name right, Ibtiaj Muhammad, Olympic medalist, with S.K. Ali and art by Hatim Ali. This book is gorgeous. It's awesome. It's super beautiful. It's super well put together. If you get a chance to read it, please do. And it's a multicultural book. It's gorgeous. Juliet is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. Gorgeous. Stonewall winner. It's incredible. If you haven't read it. And then, of course, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Eric Carle. I wanted to include some new things and a classic on here to show how this is kind of always been a thing. Like I said, it's a rule. It's something that you look at these books and you go, wow, that's a striking cover. First of all, what a cool looking cover. What is this about? You want to turn it. You want to follow the eyes of our characters. You want to go in the direction they're going. In Caterpillar, the caterpillar's moving from left to right the entire time. That's the whole premise of that book, is he's moving along and he's making kids want to turn the page. And that's why that book has been so popular for so long. Because it's simple, it's gorgeous, and you want to know what happens. Kids want to know what happens with that caterpillar. So those are just 3 covers that I really, really enjoy. My next thing are 3 covers that I don't quite enjoy, while I still really enjoy these books. Eyes That Kiss in the Corner, and I gotta zoom in to read this, by Johanna Ho, illustrated by Dong Ho. The illustrations in this book are wonderful. They're gorgeous. The story is good. It doesn't hold a lot of your younger kids. It's more of an older preschooler book. But I brought it into my classroom for a little bit because I love the artwork. I love the concept. I love the story. And I noticed that my toddlers weren't looking at it. They would pick it up and they would put it down and they would move on to something else. And I asked one of my co-teachers, and I was like, why aren't the kids reading Eyes That Kiss in the Corners? It's such a pretty book. Like, the art is great. And it's a really fun story. And they're like, they didn't know. They didn't know why they weren't looking at it. And I was like, do you think it's because our cover is flopped? Our protagonist is looking away from the way that we turn the book, so there's nowhere to go. You don't want to continue on. Same with Harold. Harold is an amazing book. Harold and the Purple Crayon, Crockett Johnson. It's a classic. But one thing that's always bothered me is that Harold's facing and pointing the other direction. He's not pointing and facing the way that you want to go. And again, with the toddlers in my classroom, this book barely gets read, even though it's amazing. They don't pull it off the shelf and bring it to me. They don't flip through it on their own for 45 minutes. They're not interested in it. It confuses at a base level for kids who are at a very young age shown that books open one way and they flow one way. And once they get that concept down, they're looking the wrong way. These characters aren't going in the right direction. Same with Harriet the Spy. I just wanted to throw a 3rd cover on there because I had 3 in the other one. It was honestly hard to find covers of traditionally published books with characters facing the opposite direction. And it's something that I didn't notice for a long time when I would do book events or Comic-Cons and conferences, and there'd be other authors there, and I'm looking at their covers. I'm like, these covers are really nice, and they say they're not selling, and I'm not sure why. And I start to look, and I realize that these were some of the reasons. tension. These books, though they're gorgeous and they're good, they don't encourage you to move forward. They're not pulling you in the direction that the story's going. But sometimes we have to move backwards. So it's very important to move forward when you're inside of a book. Two examples here. This is Mighty by me. It's my first book. It's about a girl with social anxiety starting school, and in order to overcome her fear of going, she becomes a superhero. Boom. And I Want My Hat Back by John Classic. Two good books. I think I Want My Hat Back is one of the funniest children's books of the last X amount of years. I also, when I read it like Christian Bale Batman, so it's just like, I want my hat back. And the kids laugh at that whenever the bear talks, and it's really fun. The premise of that book, if you have not read it, bear doesn't have a hat. He's looking for his hat. He walks through. Turtle, have you seen my hat? No, but I'm stuck on this rock here. Let me go. Fox, have you seen my hat? No, no. Snake, have you seen my hat? No. Rabbit, have you seen my hat? No, what hat? And the rabbit's the only character wearing a hat. The bear gets to the end of the book and goes, I have seen my hat. And he runs past all the other characters. He's moving backwards. He moved forward as far as he needed to go, and as far as the story needed to go, and as far as we needed to go, until he realized that his hat, he had seen it, and that we realized that we had seen his hat. And all of a sudden, we're running back with it. We're running back. We want to get the hat. In Mighty, Emma is afraid to go to school. She's very shy. She's never been to school. She's nervous. She has social anxiety. Her dad drops her off in her truck. She's moving forward throughout the start of the story. She's aging. She's having a birthday. She's facing the school in this picture that we see here. But our camera rotates around, our POV rotates, and she's looking backwards just a little bit at her dad's truck. She doesn't want to move forward. She wants to go back. She wants to go home. But the story's not over. We have to move forward. So she's not fully turned. She's not looking away. She's not fully going backwards like the bear is, and I want my hat back. She's facing the way we want to go. She's looking backwards. She's thinking about it. She wants to go home. Eventually, Emma goes into school, finds her inner superhero, and you'll have to find out when you read it on your own. I did the thing. So pacing. Pacing is another way to describe it, where in children's books, there's different types of stories. Obviously, there's rhyming stories, there's song stories, there's historical mini biographies and that sort of stuff. Some of the best children's books involve going to point A, reaching point A, returning or going back, or gathering things to build up. I want my hat back. We're gathering all of these different information on where the hat is. I believe that Mo Willems is probably the best children's author living, for sure, but possibly one of the best of all time. And it's because the core thing that happens in every single one of his books, it's full of tension and it's full of pacing, and you are pushed forward. You want to move forward. The kids want to move forward. They want to know what happens next. In these panels from Elephant and Piggy, this is we're going on a drive. The concept of the book is Elephant and Piggy, Gerald and Piggy want to go on a drive. So what do they need? They need a map. They need sunglasses. They need umbrellas in case it rains. They need luggage. And it gets to the point there where Gerald goes, we need a car. And previously, Piggy had gone, I have sunglasses. I'll go get the sunglasses. Go get the sunglasses. And Gerald, Elephant, goes, we need a car. I said we need a car. And Piggy just, I don't have a car. And all of a sudden, they can't go on their drive. They don't have a car. They have everything else they need. Sunglasses, maps, luggage, umbrellas. They don't have a car. What's going to happen? What do we do now? This whole buildup of going on the drive, the car's on the cover, they're getting this stuff, they're getting this stuff, they're getting this stuff, and then they can't go. And you're on the final page when Gerald is sad, and right before Piggy has her idea, we're left feeling like Gerald is. We're a little sad. We wanted to see them go on this drive. It was this big, huge buildup, and it never happened. The cover shows them in a car driving. It's Chekhov's car. Chekhov's gun in plays. There's a gun introduced in Act 1. It's going to get used, whatever. Chekhov's car, we'll call it on the cover of this. We never get it. The book ends with them taking the luggage, taking the umbrellas, taking the sunglasses, taking the maps, and becoming pirates. And it's awesome. It's such a good twist. It's a twist, and it's amazing. And when it comes to pacing, I don't think there's a better example of the Knuffle Bunny trilogy, again by Mo Willems. These are three of, this might be if people say, they argue over what's the best trilogy, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, it's Knuffle Bunny. Knuffle Bunny is the perfect trilogy. And it's because of that. I mean, look at the covers. The covers alone follow everything we've been talking about. All of them, Trixie and Knuffle Bunny. The first one, Trixie, Knuffle Bunny, her daddy. Second one, Trixie, Knuffle Bunny, her daddy. Third one, Trixie, Knuffle Bunny, mom and dad. They're all moving left to right, the direction we want to go. We want to open the book. Where are they going? Where's Trixie going? Where's she going? Why is mom in this one? Why is mom in the third one on the cover? She wasn't on the cover of the first two. And they're perfect. The flow, everything about these books is absolutely incredible. I firmly believe that if you are writing a children's book, if you are illustrating a children's book, these three books should be required reading for research, for learning how a book should look, learning how a children's book should flow. And then once you have that down, that's when you tweak the rules. That's where you break the rules. And some rules, in these three books, Mo uses photographs for the backgrounds. It looks jarring at first, almost, but it works. It works in a way that it really probably shouldn't, with the way that his cartoons are drawn. But in most of his books, they have plain backgrounds. So in these ones, it's very different. But Knuffle Bunny 1, 2, and 3, it's three books, and it's one complete story. And it's the story of Trixie, who is based on Mo's real-life daughter, Trixie. In the first book, they go and do laundry, and they walk through their downtown area where they live. We see people in the background. They go do the laundry. They get home. Halfway home, Trixie realizes something. Oh, where's Knuffle Bunny? She can't talk yet, though. She can't tell her dad what's going on. So we walk with them to the laundromat, and then we walk back home. And we're moving backwards, but because we know that something's wrong, we know Trixie's upset, we want to go back. We know Knuffle Bunny's gone. We know Knuffle Bunny's gone. Dad doesn't. We're with Trixie here. So we're moving backwards in the story, but Trixie's trying to pull us forward. We're with Trixie. We're moving backwards. We get home, and Mom realizes, where's Knuffle Bunny? We run back to the laundromat. We've now done this twice. We've done the pacing twice. The tension twice in one story. In the second one, we go to school with Trixie. Knuffle Bunny goes with her. It's show and tell day. Another girl, Sonia, has a different Knuffle Bunny. They fight over it. We go home. The Knuffle Bunnies get separated. They get swapped. And we have to run back all the way to school. Back and forth, back and forth. But each time when we're with Trixie, we know the direction we're supposed to be going. But because Trixie is a kid, and our readers are kids, and for the sake of the scenario, we can pretend we're kids a little bit, because that's always fun. We're being pulled back with her. We want to go forward. We want to go back to laundromat. We want to go Trixie. We want to go see Sonia. We want to get our Knuffle Bunny back. In the third one, which openly admit makes me cry every single time because it's gorgeous, the stakes get even bigger. So our first stakes, we're going to laundromat. That's normal. Second stakes, we're going to school. That's normal. We're going to go back there the next day. The third stakes, they're going overseas. They're going to, why can't I remember? Denmark? Sweden? Sweden. There's windmills there. Sweden. Yes, Sweden. I think it's Sweden. Sorry if it's not Sweden. It's overseas. Europe. That's not a place we go all the time. We're anxious with Trixie. We want our Knuffle Bunny. We want to feel secure. And she loses Knuffle Bunny on the plane. And it's that's it. That's it. We're overseas with Grandma and Grandpa. Knuffle Bunny's gone forever. And then they find her again, but Trixie decides to give up Knuffle Bunny to a crying baby. And in that exact moment, Trixie looks backwards. She climbs up on her seat, she turns around, and it's one of the few times that we're presented with Trixie voluntarily. It's actually the only time I think we're voluntarily presented with Trixie looking left. Any other time she's been looking left or facing left, she's been moved there. She's been carried there. She's been positioned there. She's voluntarily looking back for the first time in 3 books. And that's the moment that she gives up her Knuffle Bunny. And it's beautiful. It's amazing. And in those 3 books, it's one story, and that story is Trixie growing up and moving on from the things of her childhood that she doesn't need anymore. And it's tension. It's pacing. It's all fueled with tension and pacing. We want to move forward with Trixie. We want to go to the laundromat with her. We don't want to go home. We want to go back and get Knuffle Bunny. We want to go to school with Trixie. It's show and tell day. That's a fun day. Our Knuffle Bunny's missing and swapped with another Knuffle Bunny. We want to go get it. Going overseas to visit grandparents. That sounds fun. We've lost our Knuffle Bunny. We're with her. We're sad. We're emotional. We don't want the replacement robot Knuffle Bunny. Until we're finally big enough to give it up. And that's why between, the Elephant and Piggy books, the Pigeon books, Knuffle Bunny, I firmly believe that Mo Willems is, at least currently, the #1 children's author illustrator, and potentially, top 5 of all time. Kids pick up his books and read them on their own for a reason. I can't go a day without putting a Mo Willems book on the bookshelf in my classroom and having all 12 of my kids fight over it. I can't. It gets ripped to shreds. I've bought more copies of Knuffle Bunny and the Elephant and Pigeon books for my classroom than any other book. And it's because the kids want to read it. They want to be invested. They want to know what's going to happen. And they can do that without having to hear the story. They can do it visually. And then when they hear the story, it's even better. So, I hope you enjoyed this quick, we're about a half hour here, so it's a little bit shorter than you were thinking, dive into tension and pacing within the realm of children's literature. I think it's hands down one of the most important things. You can have a good story, you can have beautiful illustrations, but if kids aren't going to want to keep reading it, parents aren't going to want to keep reading it, and they're not going to buy replacement copies, and they're not going to buy sequels, and they're not going to buy your other books. There's a reason why people like Mo Willems, people like John Klassen and Dave Pilkey, Eric Carle are incredible sellers. Dan Santan's another one. Incredible sellers, authors, illustrators, why their books sell so well. And you don't even have to read most of those books to know why. You just look at the illustrations and you look at the pacing. And then the words come second. The illustrations will tell their own story that the kids will understand, that our non-readers will understand. And then the words will add to it and enhance it in a way that the illustrations couldn't do on their own. But the words by themselves can't do enough. Kids will tell you if they want to read a book, you'll know, because they'll keep bringing it to you. They'll keep bringing it to you. They'll keep bringing it to you. If it gets ripped in half, they'll want a new one. But they'll also tell you if they won't. That book that you might like will sit on the shelf and not get read because kids won't want to read it. Look at it. Look at it on your own, objectively. Look at the images. Are the images encouraging you to move forward, or is it the words that are encouraging you to move forward? They need to work together. And if they're not working together, they're not going to get read. Kids aren't going to pick it up. Kids aren't going to sit there for 45 minutes when there's other toys around and read that book over and over and over. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a little bit of something. I hope it's long enough. I could keep going on, but I feel like it would just be kind of repeating myself over and over at this point. So, again, if you want to talk to me, if you want to check out my books, if you want to ask more questions, if you're looking for something else and you want information on, if you're looking for book recommendations, I will gladly recommend other people's books all day long. My website's there, my Facebook page is there, my email's there. The easiest ways to get a hold of me would be my email or Facebook message me. I don't care. You can track me down on Instagram and Twitter as well. And hopefully these will be linked somewhere as well in attachment to this video. So yes, my name is Jordan J. Scavone. This has been the Picture Books Inspiring Early Readers, WriteHive 2022. I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe you'll hear my voice again sometime. Bye-bye.